The YSL trial, the longest in state history, came to a close this week after more than a year of headlines and controversy. Veteran patent lawyer turned rookie criminal defense attorney Doug Weinstein had a front row seat to the history-making trial, representing Diamante Kendrick, also known as Yak Gotti, who faced a list of charges including murder and racketeering, but was acquitted on all counts. In this week's Sunday Conversation, Weinstein takes us inside the case. How many criminal trials have you been a defense attorney?
Including this one.
Including this one?
One.
This was your first criminal trial?
This was being thrown into the deep end. Yes, my first criminal trial.
Now that your involvement with this case has come to a close and you look back on it now, how does it compare in reality to what you expected it would be going into it?
This case is unlike any normal civil or criminal case. The amount of bizarre and crazy things that happened over the course of this case, the length of the case, 10 months of jury selection, a judge who's recused and replaced mid-trial by another judge. I mean, there are so many things that happen. The side characters in the case, the witnesses. Nothing in this case went as expected.
This is known as Georgia's longest-lasting criminal trial. Jury selection started in January of 2023. The final verdicts for your client came just earlier this week.
Yes.
That's a 2-year span.
It is. And it's a remarkable length for a case.
What's the impact on the system of a case that lasts this long?
When we're in trial for 2 years, Diamante is not our only client. We have other clients. Now, fortunately, a lot of them, if not most, are out on bond. But there's scores of our clients that are sitting in jail waiting for trial, and they can't get their trial because their attorney is in trial. We can only do one trial at a time. That's just our clients. Replicate this over and over by the number of defense attorneys involved in the case. Look at the judicial resources dedicated to this case. Look at the resources of the DA's office dedicated to this case. Look at the resources of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office and Cobb County involved in this case. And it was a huge diversion of resources that could have been put to other uses.
You think the YSL case slowed the pace of justice in Metro Atlanta?
Well, I don't just think that, I know that. The YSL case bogged down courts throughout Metro Atlanta, all the surrounding counties, and even courts as far away as Cairo, Augusta. All of them were suffering the effects of attorneys that have cases in those courts being tied up here in YSL.
Who's responsible for that?
Ultimately, it is the responsibility of the judge that managed this case, as well as the DA's office.
I'd imagine there are some, including perhaps folks who are more prosecutorially aligned, who would say, look, we allege that a crime was committed, and you've got to do whatever it takes, no matter how long it takes, to bring that case to its conclusion. What do you say to that?
I would absolutely agree that that's the case. But you can do it in an efficient manner, and you can do it in a manner that perhaps could yield better results for the prosecutor. I don't think it was in the prosecution's interest to drag this case out over a year.
What do you think the legacy of this case will be?
That's a very difficult question because I'm torn between cynicism and hope. My hope would be that the state has learned, at least listening to what some of these jurors have said, that the use of artists, and we haven't talked about this, but the use of artists and rappers' artistic expression against them is not only is it wrong, not only does it infringe upon their First Amendment rights, but it will not yield success in a lot of cases. And it didn't yield success in this case. So maybe they'll think twice before using lyrics against them. Maybe in future cases, they will be more considerate of the time of the citizens who get put on jury duty. Maybe they will understand that the resources of our justice system, including the DA's office and the sheriff's office and the judiciary, can be put to better uses than these massive racketeering charges.
You said you're torn between a more optimistic and a more cynical answer to that question. You gave the optimistic version.
Yeah.
What's the cynical one that you're wrestling with?
Nothing changes.
11 Alive News reached out to District Attorney Fonnie Willis and Judge Ural Glanville. Neither responded to a request for comment. And you can watch much more of our conversation right now on our streaming app, 11 Alive Plus. Look for it on Roku, Apple TV, or wherever you get your streams.